Welcome to another DragonLance Saga review episode. I don't even know what this is, if I'm being 100% honest, because this is something very different than I've done before. I'm doing a live watch party where I'm going to be watching DragonLance Dragons of Autumn Twilight with you. That's right. If you have Amazon Prime, if you want to join and watch the film with me, you are more than welcome. You can either chat here in YouTube or you can join me in the Amazon Prime chat. But either way, if you want to watch this with me, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to cue the video up at the very beginning. We're going to start where it shows the little, I don't know, like a tornado shape. It's the very, very beginning opening crawl. And then we're just going to move forward from there. So if you've bought the video and you have it on your computer or your digital device somewhere and you want to queue it up, now's the time to do it. But let me first say, I want to just take a moment and say thank you to all the members of this channel for really making this channel what it is. I would not bother if I was in a vacuum. So this is, I guess you could say this is your fault. This is your fault that I'm doing stuff like this. So anyway, if you want to jump in chat, you're more than welcome to do so. And I want to just say, quick shout out to those in the chat. Thanks for joining live. It's always great to see you. Good to have you here. Now, I don't want to do any like bait and switch anything here because I did plan on having other people joining me and we did schedule it out, but life is. So they couldn't join me for whatever reason. And so I wish them all the best and I hope we can get together again sometime soon. So you're stuck with me for this watch party, but that's okay because we are going to have a lot of fun. Anything that you throw up in chat, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. I am probably going to need a Scooby snack. I may or may not have already had a Scooby snack that should be kicking in anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours from now, but another one's always good. Scooby snacks are good. Thanks for joining live, Charlie. Good to see you, man. Okay, so that being said, I'm about to hit play, so make sure you're queued up if you want to join me. Let me give some quick shout outs to what we're watching here. For those of you who may not know, DragonLance actually has a movie. That's right. Aside from novels, role-playing games, comics, literally everything else from bookmarks to t-shirts to playing cards, posters and paintings, and you name it. We got everything with DragonLance, including a single animated feature. The problem is, it didn't do so well, and we're about to find out why. So aside from putting a fist in the teeth of the film a little bit, playfully, we're going to have some fun with it. We're also going to... Howdy there. I got to put my glasses on because, if I'm being honest, it's getting a little hard. Hey, Tim, thanks for joining the chat, man. Brahminard, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Okay, so Mo44 Majir, nice name. I dig it. Good to see you. And Horrific Podcast. I love you guys. You guys are great. A little self-serving there. Coochie. Dude, great name, by the way. And just a side note on your Lucy Lawless thing, you actually get I think it's like a full nudity of Lucy Lawless in Ash versus the Evil Dead. I think it might be the second season, if I'm remembering right, but pretty awesome. Lucy Lawless is awesome. So, do yourself a favor. Skull Cowboy, always great to see you. Thanks for joining live. Jade, my man, I sent you an email. If you're going to be watching, you should join me in Skype. Let's get on this together. Let's have some fun. And then anyone else who wants to jump in, during, after, whatever, let's have some fun. It's a weekend. It's Saturday. And I don't know, if you're pagan, it's Beltane. It's Walpurgisnacht for some. This is a night where the witches go out and have some fun. And I don't know about you guys, but I love me some witches. So let's watch some witches in male form in the guise of Raistlin Majir, right? Shay, thanks for joining live. All men should aspire to Sturm Brightblade. Well, I don't aspire to die. I choose life. Every single time. But your point is taken. Certainly. I love him. You love the shirt? Hey, it's what I am. JJTCRT. Maybe choose an easier name to pronounce. I don't know. Pseudonym like Sam or something. Don't be a Derek, even though there's a lot of cool Dereks. But the Crown Guard Derek's the worst. Oh, nice. A new DM. All right. Didn't tell me. I'll DM the shit out of some stuff. All right. I've ranted enough. This film, the logline goes as thus. A barbarian woman with a miraculous healing staff gains the help of a group of to-be heroes as an army of dragons invades the land. I'm not 100% sure that's really the logline I would have written up for it, but that's what it is. So this was produced by Steven Stabler, directed by Will Mogno. Sorry if I butchered that. And it was written by George Straighten. The screenplay, of course, this is adapted from Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman's novel of the same name, Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Let's get into this. The music, of course, is by Carl Prasur. It was released January 15th, 2008. So, Lord of the Rings started as an animated movie. Hopefully this will follow. I agree, Charlie, and I want it. So let's do it. I'm hitting play right now. 3, 2, 1. On the off chance that you're watching at home on a feed that is not the Amazon Prime link that I posted in the chat. Oh, that's a cool tat, Tim. I dig that. I dig that a lot. All right. This is where we get the first introduction of 3D with that big dragon eye and the flames. This would have kicked ass if instead of doing 3D, they just would have stuck with 2D and taken a cue from DC films. They've been doing some amazing stuff. Sealess, thanks for joining live. Good to see you. This music makes this film. I mean, the actors are great. I don't know if they're great in this, but they're great in what they do. But, man, do I love me. I can't help but love this film, you know? I mean, it's just great. I do have to be 100% honest, though, with you guys. I can't stand this 5th Age logo. Ugh. I don't mind the 5th Age game. I don't like the 5th Age logo. I really don't like it. Bugs me. And that's the other part about this, is that moving forward, they kept referencing the 5th Age logo because it was the new age, the new era. But that red dragon, as far as I was interpreting it, was all about Malstrix. And after she was killed in, spoiler alert, the War of Souls, why are we still having that logo anywhere? Like, I'm hoping that they don't use that logo anywhere else. And I gotta say, equally, and, you know, as absurd, they don't use the logo at all in the trailer that Wizards of the Coast released for the upcoming Dragonlance game, book, adventure, and board game, which is weird. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Thanks for joining live. All right, there's 2 Tims in the chat. You guys are going to have a thumb wrestle or something? Paper, rock, scissors? Because there can only be one. The other one's going to have to change your name. Sorry, it's just the way it goes. All right. This is something that I really appreciate that they really sort of nailed home at the beginning of the film right here, is the despair. This is called the Age of Despair for a reason. You know, even 300 years after the cataclysm struck, Krynn was torn asunder, whether it's in Taladas or whether it's in Ansalon. They were suffering in a big, bad way. Some call me Tim. Flight sim game? Yeah, Silas, thanks for joining. I actually played on this channel twice, and I sucked on this channel playing it twice. All right, we got Tika Tika Whalen at this point. And Fizzban. You know, a little cue for those of you who may not know. It won't let you watch on Amazon. So for those of you, you need to have an Amazon Prime account, and you need to either own or rent the film in order for this to work. Or if you have your own copy, you could have just, start playing it now. Right now I'm watching Fizzban talk to Tika for the first time if you want to cue it up from this point. Skull Cowboy. Especially when she's walking toward Karaman for the first time here soon. I don't like how they referenced the visual gods, the Forest Master, for example. I don't like that in this film. And there's actually a lot of problems I have with this film, but quick note about Fizban the Fabulous. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman used him in a lot of their worlds, but for intellectual property reasons, they scrambled the letters of his name in order to, be able to use him. It was kind of funny. And I do like this sort of intro to Dragonlance. And I have to be honest, if I had my druthers, if I was making this film for the first time, live action, of course, I'd probably do a series, not a film. If I was making this live action series, a la Game of Thrones style, I would start with the outcast of Riverwind and Goldmoon from the Quayshu tribe before they get annihilated by Verminard's Red Dragon army. And I'd start there because that's the catalyst. That's where we're first introduced to the Blue Crystal Staff. No one really knows what it is. And then I would pick up with the beginning of the actual novel. And I would be very specific about it, where I would only do one season per module. So, the first book, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, is actually 2 modules. So I would do it per module so that we get the entire story. We have enough time for character development, a little bit of drama, a little bit of excitement. If romance is there, a little bit of romance, a little bit of terror that is just natural to this Dragonlance era right now. Oh, that sucks, Jade. I'm sorry about that. Dude, Echoes of Krynn, that new podcast is great. It's really great. And there's supposed to be a new one, right? A new episode dropping soon, I think. I'm really excited for that. Let's see. Deathgate Cycle was so good. Oh, gosh, so good. Zip nap. Yeah. I don't know if everyone knows this. I was blown away when I figured it out when it was presented to me, of course. Verminard is a descendant of Huma, Dragonbane. That's amazing. Huma Dragonbane, the guy who nearly single-handedly defeated Takhisis, the goddess of evil. She bides her time and corrupts the descendant of him to serve her. There is some just beauty in that. And you got to tip your cap to Takhisis for going the lengths just to hammer that home. Great. JB, there's a link at the top of the chat. You just have to click that. Again, you have to be a member of Amazon Prime and own or rent the Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Or if you have some other version, like I personally own the Apple TV version of the film. And so, you could always queue that up. Right now, we're watching where Tanis is first revealed in the film, and he's walking towards Solace after the 5-year departure, and he's meeting Flint for the first time in 5 years. Of course, Flint is fresh off of liberating his homeland, so to speak, but also liberating himself from gully dwarves being their king. You gotta love Flint the King, man. You got him. And actually, for the most part, I really like all of the voices for all these actors. They're great. The beard helps hide his heritage. That is... But it's Takhisis. Like, if anyone's going to hold a grudge, who? Who else? You're right, Skull. You're right. Thanks for joining live, Arrakis. Appreciate you. This is just a watch party. I'm watching. If you have Amazon Prime, you can join me, or you can queue up your own version of the film. But we're just watching Dragons of Autumn Twilight together and commenting on it. We're going to get more Tika. We're going to get a lot of Tika. Maybe too much. I don't know. No, it's not free on Prime. The rental's like $2.99 or something like that. It's not great. But the reason why I keep watching this film, Dragon's Autumn Twilight, is because, one, the story is great. I really, really like the story. Even this truncated version of the story, I like. And I love the characters in it. Of course, we all do. That's why this channel exists, right? And just seeing any version of it, whether it's on a video game being played or whether it's on an animated film that leaves much to be desired, it's still Dragonlance, Oh, of course, James. Thanks for joining live, by the way. Corrupted Mina. Whew. Mina's a whole conversation into herself. Lord Toad. Toady. Toda. However you pronounce it. This guy's great. I actually really want to read this novel. I haven't read it yet, Lord Toad. Search them! Ma! There's a little Skeletor almost, right? From the old He-Man stuff when I was a kid. I would totally move to Krynn too, for sure. Although I have to be honest, I really appreciate toilet paper and flushing toilets. So maybe after they figure plumbing out. I figure if ancient Rome had plumbing, shouldn't Istar have plumbing too? Right? So then if Istar has plumbing, maybe Sancris, maybe Palanthas has to have plumbing. At least aqueducts. We know they have aqueducts because they in Dragon's Summer Flame, Tasselhoff went down there with Usha. Yeah, I was in middle school when I read this Dark Light. Thanks for joining live, by the way. Yeah, I mean, but that's part of the fun, right, Arrakis? Is that we're grown-ass men and women who remember this book from our childhood, and in some way it spoke to us. So, Yeah, David, thanks for joining live. So I waited out at Best Buy for them to open when this film was going to be released on DVD, and I bought it, and all my friends came over to my house and we sat down all together and we watched it, and you can imagine as our excitement and our hopes just sort of slowly drained away as we realized what it actually was versus what we wanted it to be. Yeah. Hey Dale, thanks for joining live. My human side got the best. I shouldn't be so aggressive against people trying to kill us. No, I think any elf would be as aggressive, Tanis. Tasselhoff is voiced so well in this. Yeah, you and me both, David. You and me both. You little thief. Oh man, that'd be so much fun. Jade. They did the Gen Con introduction to Dragonlance where they voice acted a sort of presentation of the, a snippet of the novel back in the day before the novel was actually written. I'm sorry, before it was released. To do like a sort of radio play, but it was like on a stage. That would be a lot of fun to do. I'd be so down for that. This music is great though. Like you can't argue. It's just good fantasy music. And the chorus songs are so good. There she is. There's your Tika, Skull Cowboy. Drink her in. So this is Raistlin and Caraman after a whole bunch of misadventures, and Raistlin really kind of coming into his own, doing some sort of amazing things, realizing the limits to his magic for sure, but always wanting more, Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, of all people to play Raistlin Majere. That'd be cool, Jade. That'd be pretty cool. I'd love to tap you on the shoulder for a part, no matter how small it may be. I hope you, Skull, I hope you're not saying Tika would be better with Raced. Are you? Who lets kids into a... I get, this is an inn. This is a tavern, right? This is like a family establishment. But anytime you get grown-ass adults into a bar with with women like Tika bouncing around, not really a kid environment, you know? Maybe like a once the sun hits the Valenwood trees, the kids got to go, you know? It's adults only, especially if you ever read the story Love and Ale. It was first released in Dragon Magazine, and it was re-edited and released in Dragonlance Tales. Ooh, you had people like doing, like having the sex. It's weird to say it like that, which is intentional. They were just straight up getting down under tables, like three ways. Like, it was crazy in that novel, or in that short story. I mean, you got to read that short story if you haven't. It's crazy. But like so it started as like some magic user. I'm trying to remember now. It's been a little bit. Some magic user like dropped a potion or something, and some rando kender, as Odic was making a new batch of ale, poured the potion into the ale, and so it was like this lust love ale. So everyone was drinking it, and it was getting crazy. It was more like a strip club than an inn. In the story. You should, Rusty. They're great. Always keep them, because, and if you ever want to sell them, you know, start looking at prices nowadays, because some of those books are worth a lot right now. Like, straight up. I've paid way more than I should have for some of them. This is weird because, like, if you think about friendship, right? If you grew up with someone, then 5 years isn't a big deal. But friendships begin and end within a 5-year gap in some cases, right? If you're going to college, for example, and you're meeting your flatmates or your classmates, or maybe you know, whatever, you're only with them for the duration of college, and then you go off and have your own life. So friendships are very, you know, they're very temperamental things. And for this group of people who did, to their credit, most of them grow up together, you know, coming back after 5 years, you grow and you evolve as a human being in that time. You change, you know? Me 5 years ago isn't so much different as when I was a kid, and 5 years of change. That's a huge, you know, I was in the military for 5 years. I was a dramatically different person when I came out than I went in. So, you know, those friends that I grew up with, childhood friends, I don't communicate with anymore. I don't engage with anymore, because they are in way different places in their lives than I am now. Clearly watching fantasy and creating a freaking YouTube channel about it. But, you know, to the credit of the story, it would still be a little awkward. These friends, you know, who knew each other's embarrassing moments and mistakes, meeting up again after 5 years. It wouldn't be like this fluid, like you just fall right back into old rhythms anymore, because you're just not that person anymore. Oh, giving them away, that sucks. Punker, how you doing? Thanks for joining live. 60-ish paperbacks? Whoa, that's awesome. You'll get buried or burned with them? That's devotion, Rusty. So we know Hedrick, theocrat. This guy's a dillweed. If you ever meet a Hedrick in your life, avoid them at all costs. We've all met them. They're out there. They will literally cut off their nose to spite their face, or throw their sleeve into fire to spite their face. They suck. Raislin's tea in your cup. I still have so much Raislin's tea mixture in my cupboard. It's crazy. Tons of it. Oh, really? That's interesting, Arrakis. Yeah, the novel and the first module were released, I believe, the same exact year. You know, I may be off by some months, but it was pretty simultaneous. And it wasn't until Dragons of Winter Night that the novels went further into the timeline than the actual game material went. And so, they were trying to follow Dragonlance rules and sort of vernacular and structures up until Winter's Night. And then after that, there's like, we're going to do our own thing. we're not playing the Dungeons and Dragons game anymore. We've gone way beyond that. And the fact is that, whereas the novels were all written by Mark Weiss and Tracy Hickman, the modules were mostly written, I think, by Douglas Niles. So they were informed, certainly, by Tracy Hickman. I don't think Mark Weiss had much, if anything, to do with the modules. But it was mostly Tracy Hickman. But then Douglas Niles took over, and you had some other people contributing as well. But yeah, I mean, you definitely know the influential signatures between contributing authors and game designers when you look at the products and the results of them. Like, for example, when Dragons of Light came out, I think it was like DL7, if memory serves right. Now, I have a video releasing on next week about this, actually. Douglas Niles created Battle System, which is a sort of a strategic, a tactical mass combat game for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, right? It was sort of the predecessors of Chainmail, Gary Gygax's original game design that Dungeons and Dragons actually came out of. So it was a tabletop wargaming supplement. So Battle System came out, and then months later, as Niles was, oh geez, I'm hoping it's Niles because that's what's in my head right now. Anyway, when he was writing up Dragons of Ice, he was deciding to include Battle System into it. And so he sort of shoehorned the sort of mass warfare into the actual story with the Ice Barbarians and the Thanoi and Feelfast, the Dragon High Lord. They had to like rush that to get into the Ice Gate place and stuff. The movie is on Arrakis. Like, if you want to join the watch party, you have to have Amazon Prime. You have to rent or own the film on Amazon. And at the very beginning of the chat, you can see the link to that. Or just queue up the film on your own if you own it, and you can watch. Right now we have Karaman and, the whole Innfellows, the companions. They just left the In the Last Home, and they're sort of fighting goblins on their way out of town. Oh, you just put it on. Right on. So time-wise, I'm afraid if I touch this, it's going to pause it. It is 22 minutes and 2, 3, 4 seconds. Oh, John, I know it's not great. It's fun, It's just geeky, nerdy, bad 3D animation and 2D animation makes fun. See, Darklight, I would be okay with that in any form. I don't care if it's the same quality as long as they keep putting out content. Because the truth is there's so many stories at this point in Dragonlance. You could go back to the Age of Might with Huma or Kaz. You can go forward to the 5th Age and do something on Mina. You could do after Mina because there's tons of content. After the War of Souls, the elves have no homeland. Quonacy's devastated. Sylvanisty's taken over by Minotaurs. So you have the entire elven nation trying to find some sort of homeland in both like the Desert of Kur and then simultaneously in I think it's Southern Ergoth, the other branch. And it's both of those branches of elves are a mix of Quonisty and Sylvanisty. So yeah, the Walking God, Valthonis or something like that. Which is a weird thing, Charlie. If you're a god to voluntarily step down, you're like, yeah, eternity's not all it's cracked up to be. Maybe I'll just move on, I love the fact that Flint's fear of water and boats comes from Howard Johnson, the guy who helped make him. Like, that's it. And then they wrote a story around it. And his allergy to horsehair came from him, too. Hilarious. Yeah. I agree, JB, 100%. I think all of the supplements got better and better and better. They got more focused on individual gameplay rather than war gameplay like the original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons novels or adventures modules were. But that's fine. You know, you can still have a lot of fun with that. Here we go. Kiefer Sutherland as Raistlin casting Sleep. And the goblins just drop. It's like, see? I know magic. You people didn't think I knew that. But I did. It's like brushing sand out of Goldmoon's hair. Like, ooh, you got a little schmutz there. Sorry about that. Very D&D reference there. No matter how powerful a wizard is, he's still limited to the number of spells he can cast in a day. All right. I don't know if an actual mage would ever say it like that, but okay. Yeah, Brian, I'm with you there. Gosh, Crystalmire Lake in my head as a kid reading it was such an important place. It was not only the moment where they were liberated from the oppression that they were facing with, you know, they didn't know it at the time, but really the Red Dragon Army's incursion into Solace. But it's also where they first were introduced to the whole story of the Blue Crystal Staff and how it was found, the Quayshu tribe through Goldmoon and Riverwind, the promise of greater adventure. It all happened right around that. I always thought it was such an important place. And so whenever I would play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends as a kid and bring them on, you know, their first adventures into Dragonlance, I would always include Crystalmire Lake as a sort of, if not a beginning point, then a transitory position where they could, you know, pass by and then they could relive those moments in their head as we're sort of playing the game too. Flint Fireforge carries our wine. That's all he does? That's it? He's a master metalsmith. He's an accomplished woodcarver. He took care of you when everyone else shunned you. But he just carries the wine. All right, Tanis, way to be a dick. Are you referencing, Charlie, one of like the metal song, heavy metal songs? Because I have not listened to all of them, and I definitely could not recall one in my head. That is 100% Kiefer Sutherland playing Raistlin Majir. And it's Lucy Lawless playing Goldmoon right here. She's great, though. I prefer her more in Ash versus the Evil Dead, but she's still great. Dark Light. Yeah. I think I never understood why there is a fracture of our human culture nowadays that feels like women are not given the highlight in media in any form. You know, they're like, oh, it's always a guy saving them or whatever. Have you ever watched a horror film? The final girl is a thing. Like, women they're the survivors. They're the ones that beat the bad guys. Alien, for F's sake. Sigourney Weaver literally kicks alien ass and everyone else dies. Like, women are in fiction, literature, in film, they are represented. You just have to have your eyes open to see it. Like, women are empowered and have always been empowered. And yes, our human culture has from the beginning, as far as we know, in most regions of this world, you know, women have been subjugated and sort of, you know, stuffed into these little corners. But in media, in our current culture, women are represented and they are celebrated, and justly so. Sigourney's badass. Oh, she's so great. From Ghostbusters to Aliens to Copycat. Did you guys see Copycat? If you like serial killer stuff. Ugh, she's amazing. Putting things in motion for this audio read-through. Watch this space. All right. Onyx Tablet. I have never read that novel, and it's one that is sort of in my list of what I want to read. Is that the one, or is it the Black Wing? Is that's not Onyx, is it? That's oh gosh, I can't remember. You can actually get this shirt. I also do a Star Wars podcast, and that's what this is from. Who, me? I don't stop for a rest. I'm Flint. I have no health problems at all. Yeah, telling a Kender to keep your hands off of other people's belongings is a little ridiculous. Just saying. Dude, JB, you got to check my channel out. I've read 3 of them and reviewed 3 of them already. It's the Cloakmaster cycle. Teldin Moore of Callum. Well, I think it's why do I never remember? I think they reference him as Teldin Moore from Calaman, but he actually wasn't from Calaman proper. But yeah, they're great. Michael Rosenbaum and Flash, yeah. The last one is really hard to get. It's like $60+ on the second market. But the other ones are available. And there are, just so you guys know, there are PDFs out there. I had one of you wonderful people send me one of them for the final book, but they do exist, the ebooks of them. I don't know why Google or Apple hasn't picked them up, or Kindle for that matter, because they're great. And with the revival of Spelljammer now with 5th edition, whether you like 5th edition or not, that's another argument. But the fact is it's coming out again. So that's going to renew interest. Maybe we'll see more ebooks of them. It'll be great. This is our first introduction to draconians. For the first time ever. So cool. Sacred Staff of Healing. All right, way to give the whole game up, Goldmoon. Jeez. I bear the staff. My whole party is trying to hide it for obvious reasons, but I will not. Could you imagine? Well, okay, so here's a thought experiment. Let's say you live in Krynn, right? In the campaign world of Dragonlance. You see an infinite variety of different creatures throughout the land, right? There's centaurs and there's like lion. What are the lion creatures called? They're like centaurs, but they're lions. Anyway, there's just, the whole D&D gamut of species of creatures. And then draconians come out. Is that a shock at all? You're just like, oh, it's just another version of a monster that I've never seen before. Or are you like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. No, it's just another creature. Tanis looks messed up right there. Sturm looks so mad. He's like, give me my sword. This is my daddy's. I'm just thinking about Yentl. Papa, can you hear me? Jade, that'd be awesome. I would be down for a watch party for Echoes of Krynn episode 2. That'd be awesome. It wasn't a manticore, though you're probably right about what I'm describing. There's like this whole species near Naraka, which is like lion. Oh, God, this is going to kill me. I did a video on it, too. That's the problem. I just don't remember the damn video. All right, I actually have notes here that I wanted to talk about here. So, this stars Kiefer Sutherland as Raistlin, Lucy Lawless as Goldmoon, Michael Rosenbaum as Tanis half-elven, Michelle Trachtenberg as Tika Whalen. Jason Marsden as Tassloff Burfoot. Fred Tatasciore as Flint Fireforge, Viewmaster Toda, and Hedrick. Reno Romano as Caraman Majir. Neil Ross as Paladine and Fizban. Mark Warden as Sturm. Phil Lamar as Riverwind, Gilthanas, and the Speaker of the Suns. Kellyanne Ortega as Bupu and Brianna. David Sobolov as Verminard. Caroline Gillibert as Lorana. Nika Futterman as Takhisis. Mari Weiss as the Forest Master. Ben McCain as Elistan. D. Bradley Baker as Porthios, Pyros, and Eric. Susan Selos as Flamestrike. And Juliette Clare as Onyx Sablet. There's a couple funny little notes that are worth pointing out, I think. Tracy Hickman adamantly opposed to trying to fit the entire novel into one movie, saying that the film should portray essentially the first half of the book and finish with Solace's burning, and I totally agree because that fits up with the first module, which is about the right amount of time for an animated short. Co-author Tracy Hickman also says that the animation itself is less than he would have hoped it to be, and that including the entire first book in the film was a mistake. However, his overall reaction is positive, as he describes it as the opening of a door and the beginning of a journey. It's a journey, all right. Part of what made this novel so wonderful to me as middle... oh my gosh. Why am I having a hard time? It's not middle grade, middle school, aged Adam reading this for the first time was, I'm a art director by trade, my profession. So I'm an artist. And so the illustrations at the chapter heads of each chapter in Dragons of Autumn Twilight were so great. I would just sit there and redraw them, and I would do watercolor paintings of them. I had my friends actually buy them off of me because they liked him so much. And it was just me reflecting this wonderful saga from the novel and just sort of being obsessed with it. And the image of these, I can't help but think of Goonies when I say this, these dead creatures, these spectral warriors, dead things, Mikey, dead things. Some of the greatest skeletal artwork ever, you know? So good. It's always worth trying. Drawing is a skill. But it's, you know, one of those things, like, not everyone can be Beethoven no matter how much you practice. Everyone has this cap of ability that, you know, some people will exceed further than you are capable of exceeding. But you can still do your best, you know? Avian race, similar to Raptoran. Kyrie, was that it? Skull Cowboy. Hey, I'm enjoying some Pinot Noir, all right? I'm trying to both watch the film, comment on it, and entertain. So I'm going to be all over the place here. Dan and I were great, Shay. Dan and I were great. That's true, Skull. That's true. I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll show it. I don't like how they portray the Forest Master here. Why do they wrap her in vines? That doesn't make any sense at all. God, it doesn't match the artwork from the novel. They're just like, hey, she's a Forest Master, so let's wrap her in a forest. All right. Weird. God, bugs me. Wemmick! Oh, sweet hell, JB. Oh, that's it. Thank you. That was going to drive me nuts. Oh, Wemmick. Okay. Yes, you're my hero. They have the Barbara Walters blur on Goldmoon right now. The soft light. Yeah, the Forest Master is a unicorn. Funny enough, I'm actually reading this right now. Clearly I'm almost done with it. But I was obsessed with this film as a kid, this animated film. It still holds up. I still think it's a fantastic animated film. It's got scary stuff and, you know, cheesy fantasy stuff. But the novel, I'm digging it. I'm really digging it. This is the first time I've ever read it. I would love to see that Skull Cowboy. Oh my gosh. Raistlin and Danis battling for dominance? Oh god, that'd be tight. I'd be down. Oh, there you go. Can I speak to you, Raistlin? Maybe stop being such a dick. I get you're suffering. You know, everyone talking to you is like an open wound, just sort of poking at you. Just don't be a dick, you know? Have your designs, have your plans, do your thing. Just don't be a dick. This is the thing, as much as all of these companions seemed to distrust or dislike Raistlin, they all heeded his advice when he gave it. They all paid attention, and they all appreciated him saving their Takhisis every time he did. So how much can you really dislike, you know, a friend, supposedly, when they're constantly saving your ass? I don't know. Maybe show a little respect. Fisty. How you doing, Scott? Thanks for joining. Takhisis. Yeah, they totally need him. If it wasn't for Raistlin, they would not have won the war. Raistlin won the War of the Lands. I know people like to say, oh no, it was Lorana. No. Takhisis would be in Krynn if it were not for Raistlin Majere. 100%. Flint. He's like, my sinuses are killing me. But it's definitely not because of those Pegasus. Or the horsehair helmet that is definitely a griffin mane on my hat. Another funny note about the art. It was Clyde Caldwell, I think, that painted him with the horsehair helmet after Harold Johnson had already like set up the whole allergy to horses thing because he was allergic, which I always thought was funny. Yeah, welcome home. This is these are your clansmen burning alive as you're watching them. And people are like, no, this is not a dystopia. All right. Clearly you've never seen this film or read any of the books because the Age of Despair was named for a reason. Who is this Verminard? I feel like Verminard never got a fair shake. In the modules, he did not die in Pax Sarkaz. He came back and he invaded Thorbarden. Like, he is one bad mofo. Well, yeah, there is that. JB. That's true. Flint reminds you of uncles? That's funny. Yeah, David, you're 100% there. Yeah. I think that novel was really essential to understand. I think Legends gave you everything you need to know about who Raistlin became. But how he became Raistlin was, in my personal opinion, really codified through Hourglass Mage. 100%. Look, how about you not shout that, Tasselhoff? Because they're right there. Like, they can hear you. They have, I don't know, reptile ear holes. And apparently really good smells. Wait a second. If they're reptiles, wouldn't they just be licking the air? Isn't that what reptiles do to smell? They lick the air? Like, oh, I can smell your funk. Why don't draconians lick the air? Why don't dragons lick the air? Yeah, he did. He's like, oh, well, I guess they didn't catch you. That's what I'm saying, Skull. Like, snakes do it. Isn't a snake just a dragon? Isn't that like where dragons come from? The idea of dragons? Bupu! I always called her Bupu because, you know, the English language. But Margaret said Bupu once, so now I say Bupu. What did you do to her? Oh, nothing. They're like holding out a doll. Where did the bad man touch you, Bupu? Show us where the bad man touched you. Like, no, I love Raistlin. For no reason. I just met him, but I love him. Okay. Would Raistlin ever really get an opportunity to sort of turn the tables on Fist and Daedalus if he didn't find his spell book because of Bupu? Right? Because that was where he first started gaining actual personal power by using the spells. Because again, you know, going back to Dungeons and Dragons, you're not a priest, you're not a cleric. You can't learn spells unless you find them. So if it wasn't for Raistlin finding Fist and Daedalus' spell book, would he have been able to be on top? I don't know. I like how he's like pointing at Tanis. Don't point fingers, Tanis. Are these them? These huge stone scrolls? Like, no, that's some Book of Mormon stuff. You can put those back. That's literally what this is from. Tracy Hickman straight up said he put those discs of Meshachal in there like that because of his religion. And I don't fault him for it. Like, wherever you get inspiration from, I think that's great. But it is pretty funny. No, I just stole that from our religion. He's like, maybe back up, guys, because this claw's really sharp. JB, at this point, well, at no point were they actually the same being. Fist of Daedalus was a lich that was sapping life in order to maintain existence from Raistlin from his test of high sorcery forward. But it was at their war in their final battle in Legends, where Margaret Weiss and Trace Hickman literally did not know who won that battle. Like at that point that they wrote it and published it, they did not know whether it was Fist and Daedalus who won out in the end or whether it was Raistlin Majira that won out in the end. And I think that's really, really fascinating. It strikes a chord into the complexity of Raistlin Majir. Because without Fist and Daedalus, Raistlin would not have ever become what he ultimately became. So he owes that to him. He would never have mastered the Dragon Orb without Fist and Daedalus' help when he went into Sylvanesty. And ironically, Lorana, who has never studied any magic, was able to master the Dragon Orb at the High Clerist's Tower, which is just stunning and a huge tribute to her character, right? Oh, the timestamp right now is 4806, 07, 08, 4809. He's a half-elf. Half-elf, half-human. All of nothing. I gotta be honest. It's because of fantasy novels like this, and just the sort of personal moral issue with it. But the idea that race is ridiculous to me. The fact that you can be of a different ethnic background and claim to be a different race, or other people call you a different race, is absurd. And we're humans. That's the race. That's it. Like, you may not like it, but we all come from singular spaces on this earth migrating outward. Like, our ancestry is all wrapped up together. We are the same species. And you want to go back into the evolutionary charts further than that, we're tied to fungus and molds, bacteria that turned into mushrooms and trees and grass. Like, we're all connected. All life on this planet is 100% connected. So to call out, say, oh, my ethnic background is better than yours, that's straight up ignorance. That's stupidity. That doesn't make any sense at all. So when you look at like an elf or a dwarf, all right, technically, yeah, they're different races. Yeah, okay, sure. But human beings? No, we're the same. We're one. And yes, we are all the same meat. Tanis might be Soth's son? What? Oh, I'd never even considered that idea before. But I think that's really, really fun to... I mean, he's not, 100%. But that's a fun thought experiment to sort of have. You know? Tanis being the result of Soth and his second wife, the elven mistress. That would be actually really cool if that were the case. Yeah. That would be very, very cool. Fate is the answer. Yeah, everyone's like, how about you get your paws off my wife? Or my soon-to-be wife, Tanis? She's, called for. I called dibs a while ago. I got this staff, like, a long time ago. I don't really remember it, but it happened. So maybe stop touching her. You got 2 girls already, Tanis. Stop being a girl hound, all right? Miss Shackle. I always said Miss Shackle. This is one aspect of Dragonlance that I love so much, is that everyone speaks differently, right? Of course. And so everyone pronounces the names differently. I love that people are like, no, this is how you pronounce it. Brah. All right. Well, I go out east and people say banana, not banana. So don't tell me about pronunciation. Like, it's all about where you grew up. That's it. Even Raistlin can read it. Yeah. The most educated person of all of you. Yeah, well, of course he can read it, dillweed. We must return quickly. Where we took Pegasus is here, and we don't have the Pegasus anymore, so we have to just walk. There's no quick way about that. Like, we literally got to walk from Zaxxaroth to Solace. It's going to be weeks. Like, what do you want? It always kind of bugged me when you have long-lived races like dwarves and elves who would then be like, oh, the gods left us, they abandoned us. Dude, for you, that was just like, a quarter of your life ago. Like, they're still real in your life. Your entire culture, your parents and grandparents, they all knew the gods. Like, they all worshiped the gods, and then you're just going to stop and stop believing in them? Like, they were alive when you were alive. Like, they were, like, actively involved in mortal affairs when you were a kid. You're just going to think they don't exist? What? It's ridiculous. And you got to think, like, no one on Krynn suffered as much as the elves. Regardless of type of elf, right? Quality or Sylvanisty. They just suffered over and over again from the dragon armies taking their lands, to Kain Bloodbane completely messing with them, and creating this dome around Sylvanesty to drain themselves, or the Knights of Takhisis invading their homelands. Like, they just suffered one hit after another their entire lives. Just brutal. And then Minotaurs come in. They finally free their homeland. And the Minotaurs come in and just kick them out. Dude. You always chose the fire of experience over the waters of faith. Ooh, I like that. I like the phrasing of that. That's nice. Kidiara is a bit underrated in your book. I think by most people she definitely is. But for those who appreciate strong, opinionated women, who appreciate the carnal nature of life and know how to use it, oh, dude. They really, really own it. All right, let's see here. Gilthanas. Gilthanas is awesome. Like, they like cut his arm off, dude. Gosh, that would be so hard. Like, hats off to everyone who, I mean, mad props to anyone who comes back from like losing a limb. That's brutal. That's hardcore. Yeah, a lot of the vernacular in Dragonlance is informed by Tracy Hickman's missionary work. I think it was to, oh gosh, I'm going to say this wrong. I think it was Tibet, or it wasn't Tibet. It was yeah. Okay, I don't remember the place, but he went on a mission to an Asian country, and that's where he pulled a lot of his inspiration for a lot of the language. Yeah, that's pretty messed up, Jade. Like, that was the moment in Zaxxaroth, is them walking into the courtyard going, hey, what the heck is all this about? This is first of all, Zaxxaroth was like a slave center of pre-cataclysm times. It was a huge trade center. People, merchants would come from all around Ansalon and trade everything. They would sell slaves there. It was like this huge, massive, I always imagined it like Rome. It was just like this huge epicenter of life and culture. And then suddenly it was gone. But then that moment when just darkness surrounded the entire party and they're like, oh crap, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. And they just hear the wings flapping. God, the terror of that moment. They should have included that 100%. Lost opportunity. No. Hey, Anthony, thanks for joining live. Later, not. Good to see you. Javanese. I don't think I've heard that one before. I don't even know what that is. Javanese. Is it like an island or something? The Onyx encounter in the module is impossible. Yeah. So I always hear people complaining about the Dragonlance modules, saying that, no, it's just railroading. And, we all know everyone tries to do the exact same things in the novel. And if you've ever actually looked at the modules, they are not the same as the novels. Like, they intentionally, first of all, you have to truncate content in order to make it into a novel. But secondly, they intentionally changed aspects of the novel because they didn't want to give away the information about the modules. It's like straight up like that. So I really don't understand why anyone thinks it's railroading because the novels are out there. When those are player decisions, those are DM decisions. If you look at the novels, there are multiple ways to end this. One of them is Huma coming back. Yeah, like, it's crazy. If you ever actually And that it just drives me crazy because it's all based on ignorance whenever people say that. No, Dragonlance modules, they're just railroading. Well, that just tells me that you've never actually looked at them because they're not at all. It's an open world with a through line story that you can get to the conclusion of however you like. And it's all about the players and it's all about the DM. If they're railroading it, then yeah, okay, then it will be. But it doesn't have to be. Yeah, JB, they totally are. Tanis is a fighter with less intelligence than Riverwind. Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, Dale, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Looking forward to 5th edition Dragonlance. You plan on adding some elements of adventures in Middle Earth to capture the feel. I will have to say this. TSR used to play a little bit with Middle Earth as a setting. And I think they did like some adventures or modules or something back in the day, like in the 80s. But there's actually a whole role-playing game called Middle Earth that my buddy, when I was a kid, used to insist on playing. And they had, and I don't know if it was just his own made up stuff or not, but it was brutal. Like they had some like critical modifiers or something like that where you could like lose limbs and stuff. It was crazy. I appreciate you. Yeah, JB, you're 100% right. Oh, I would love that Arrakis. I would love that so much. Oh gosh. Look, raced bunnies. Debonius. 100%. That was great. And the fact that they fit that into the Legends trilogy too, because that was originally a reaction from the players during the Thorbarden scenes when Verminard was coming up with his dragon in Thorbarden. And it was the whole shadow play of the fire and flames of the dragon that Caraman was playing off of, that he used to make little shadow bunnies for Raistlin as a kid. Like it was just this endearing moment. Like, Lorana, I don't even know you. How about ease up with the tongue a bit? Jeez, it's been a while. Okay. We were like literally kids when I gave you that ring. Maybe chill a little bit. Son of my brother's wife. You raised him. Call him son. Don't be a dick. Like, I don't get that. Like, Tanis is literally in some of the fiction, like, he is royalty. Like, son of my brother's wife. That means he is a prince to Quilindusty, just like Lorana is his stepsister, cousin literally, but stepsister because he was fostered under her dad. Like it's weird, but it's true. He's a prince, she's a princess. They're in the same family line. Very English, I'll say, of them. Very British. Keep the royalty in the family, you know? Hey, Guyver. I don't really care about the other worlds, to be 100% honest. Like, the complexity of this campaign world alone is so great that I've only really scratched the surface. There's so much more that I have no idea about. I don't think I have the capacity with my professional life, my family life, to add those into a hobby too. Like, and especially in a game, to try to work around the minutia of different worlds is just, for me, it's just too much. Takhisis. Yes, JB. Lorana and Kidiara came face to face a couple of times. So the first time, as 8-Bit Benny said, great name by the way, thanks for joining live, Windstorm died. that was one of their second encounter. Their first encounter was in Tarsus. If you read Dragons of the High Lord Skies, Kitiara literally hunts down Laurana after she finds out that Tanis has met up with her again and they defeated Verminard. Like, she's super jealous, that Kitiara. So she went hunting for Laurana, found her, confronted her, and almost killed her, though Laurana didn't know it was her at the time. Didn't know who it was, really. And Laurana would have beaten her up if it wasn't for a draconian that was helping Kitiara. And then the second time was the High Clerist's Tower. And the third time was literally in front of the Queen of Darkness. And Lord Soth was just standing by. And Tanis was like, hey, baby, it's me. And she's like, bitch, you just hooked up with your old hoe. I'm out. Like, it's like straight up like some crazy MTV drama up in the Temple of Luricus. Pretty weird, man. You're right, Skull. He definitely was. This is, I don't think like people understand the gravity of what the speaker has to be dealing with right now. The Red Dragon army is on their doorstep, and it is literally ready to invade. He is faced with the choice of saving a portion of his people or fighting and dying, as far as he understands, and all Quillenity will wipe off the face of the earth if they succumb to the Red Dragon armies. So, we're all wrapped up in the complexity of the companion's mission of, uncovering the gods and stuff like that. But this dude is just trying to keep his people alive. He may seem like a dick, but what else are you supposed to do? Like, you're just trying to make the best choice out of a number of horrible choices. Like, it's really, it's stressful. I would love Soth as a bodyguard too. It would be the best. Tanis, but I love you. All right, Tanis. You're going to regret this in like 2 days. Don't worry. You guys are going to get together. You're going to have a kid. You're both going to die as people do. I don't like that he's not in dragon form. Yeah. So when Battle System came out, oh gosh, I think I might have misstated the author of it. Anyway, when Battle System first came out, the only campaign-specific scenario they included was the Red Dragon army invading Quellenost. So it was a Dragonlance scenario that came in the box set of it. And other than that, it was just random prime material war worlds. There was nothing specific. And actually, Battle System, though it came out of Chainmail and it was like the successor of the Chainmail, it was originally going to be Dark Sun. So Dark Sun was supposed to be this war world based on the Battle System mechanics. But then it ultimately ended up changing because they wanted to do something different with Dark Sun. But yeah, just, little food for thought there. Hey, Miss Megan, how you doing? Good seeing you. All right, so for those of you watching at home, I am currently 1:07, an hour and 7 minutes in, and like 54 seconds. So it looks like the Red Dragon army is off to invade Quillenity, and our intrepid heroes are on their way to the Slamoori. Talk about lucking out, though. If you're going to just enter any rando Slamoori, to happen upon Kith Cannon's tomb, like that's some pretty lucky stuff, right? And then for the mummified, ostensibly mummified corpse to give you a sword, like, dude, that's just intense. Yeah, Average Joe. I did too. I love those. I did reviews on them too. They're great. That's why I'm doing like this, Megan, where I get a little best of both worlds. I get to watch the film and chat about Dragonlance. He's arguing with this spell. Seriously, globe of fire or globe of light that I just summoned. Do what I say. It's like all of his magic has its own mind, even though he's like a straight up god. Have a good night, David. Thanks for stopping in. Nah, did you see Tracy Hickman's cartoon character right there? Right there in the purple cloak. Or I guess it was like a dust jacket. I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch. Yeah, let's see if you float. We'll find out if you're a witch or not. I think I can heal him. Yeah, the Dragonlance Saga comics. They never finished the novels, but yeah, those are great. I still pull imagery from them for some of my videos. Because it's just too good, you know? Margaret Weiss hated this character. Hello, Elistan. Your author can't stand you. He just said that, Sturm. What is wrong with you? Thanks for stating the obvious. Caraman. This is all boastful. Don't worry, we faced a dragon before that killed Riverwind. It almost killed Raistlin. Pretty much decimated all of us. But we'll be fine. We got this. I love this. They're all dressed up as girls. Look, we got to take care of the kids. Some of you humans are really ugly. What's with the bearded one? I never really understood that. The draconians' obsession with women, like elven and human women. Like there are literal points in the novels where the draconians are lusting and hunting after Tika and lusting after Lorana. Like these are lizards. Why would they be interested in... Do they even have the plumbing necessary? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. It seems like it was just a way to sort of vilify the bad guys even more, even though it doesn't really make, like, physical sense at all. Tika has her... I like Tika, so let's not disparage this fictional character's name. That's true. Savara did love Gilthanas. But she was magically a human, right? So then, like, magically everything would work. Or at least function. Oh, that's awesome, Trigo. Thanks for joining live, by the way. Dearigo, sorry. That's terrible. Yeah, I think you're right, Anthony. 100% there. I get it. Like it's a horrible thing that happens. So I understand using it as a trope. I get it. And definitely, it makes you 100% understand who the horrible, monsters are. Like, oh, they're into that. Okay, we gotta stop those. I love their relationship, Flint and Tasselhoff. As much as Flint complains and like verbally abuses, let's not be, let's not mince words here. He like psychologically like damages Tasselhoff, it seems. Like, it's just it's emotional abuse is what it is. He emotionally abuses Tasselhoff on the regular. But I think because Tasselhoff is a Kender and they just sort of let stuff like roll off their backs for the most part, it seems. At least Tasselhoff did anyway. That he's like okay with it, or at least he doesn't allow it to affect him as much as, most others would. But their relationship, I like the highlight of Spring Dawning for me was when Tasselhoff and Flint were on the damn dragon, and Tasselhoff was like freaking out, joyous and excited, and Flint was terrified, and they captured back her ass. Like, it was hilarious. It was the funniest, greatest moment. Ugh. And even the dragon was like, "Oh, sir, please, no, you can get on my back. I'll take care of you. It'll be okay." He was like bolstering up Flint's ego so he would actually get on his back. Oh, it was so good. So good. Yeah. I have never read the young adult version of the Chronicles that they released. Like the New Adventures ones that they released. Like let's not kid ourselves. These books are for junior reader audiences. But there was literally a young adult version that was also released. And so I never read those. So I wonder, sort of comparing and contrasting them, if they do soften any of the blows or if they change them in any way to make them more palatable to the different youthful audience. And any of you that know, please let me know whether they did or not, because I think that would be very interesting to find out. They are, Mo 44 Major, there are female draconians. They came out in the Draconian Measures and Doom Brigade novels, which I just recently read for the first time, and they're amazing. You have to read them. They're great. So much better than Jar Jar. I would totally go to Aragoth, 100%. That'd be great. I don't want to, I'm going to say it really quick. I like how they ended Jar Jar's storyline in the Aftermath novels for Star Wars. I thought it was perfect, where he just sort of played the clown for kids to make them happy. It was a great ending to a rather tortured life, And certainly, as far as the fandom was concerned in hating him in the prequels, I thought it was a beautiful end to a character. Takhisis is mad hot. Careful, man. Takhisis is the Amber Heard of the Dragonlance world. She will shit your bed. Just be careful. Oh, yeah, they are. Megan, you're absolutely 100% right. She's great. Fireball! I don't know how a fireball would look when you cast it as a spellcaster, but I hope it doesn't look like that. There's just something about it. It's like a little tail. I don't know. It's just weird. Not great. Hey, Chris! Welcome, Dragon High Lord. Welcome to the channel, man. Thanks. I appreciate you. This was the ultimate cop-out to having to deal with Verminard's dragon. Well, we know that the companions could never actually kill a red dragon, so how are we going to let them survive? Well, why not have sort of old, feeble-minded, sort of, Pastor Prime Dragon, an ancient worm, and she's the one that takes care of the dragon. All right, that works. Yeah, I mean, Jay, by all intents, that's literally what it is. I just, in my head, I imagine it being something more grand, That's a good one. Soulforge is a good one. Well, I'm glad you found it too, Jason. Thanks for joining, man. Oh no. God, he's so tough. Verminard took on all of the companions at once, and it took all of them to beat him. He needed more time. Like, I just wish, in the modules he had more time. I wish he would have had more time in the novels. Gosh. He is of the line of Huma. Like, let's give him the gravitas that this bad guy deserves. He's literally the first warrior priest of Takhisis to go out in the dragon armies. Like, that's something, God, it's awesome. Cheaty mace. Did you see that draconian hit and just bounce off all Looney Tunes style? It's so bad. Oh my gosh. Get him. Oh, lost your sword. His head is really small. Like, in comparison to the rest of his body. Verminard definitely does steroids. Like, look at that. He is the, he is the, Carrot Top of bad guys. You ever see Carrot Top's shoulders when he was doing steroids? It was ridiculous. Like, comical. It was Carrot Top, but still. I'm blind. God, I gotta read that, Anthony. Gotta read that. Megan. Oh, what? What? That's a great theory. Oh. At Dragonlance Canonical, we have a theory that Destina from the upcoming novel is Verminard's daughter. Oh. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Oh, and she goes back in time to save him? And she has to confront the freaking companions? Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. God, that would be so great. Oh, I'm going to be thinking about that for a while now. Oh, my goodness. Anthony. Are you Red Dragon all over? Does your Red Dragon match the carpet and drapes? Yeah. Paladine. I actually really like the genuine fear that everyone, even the gods, have towards Takhisis. Paladine and Takhisis are brother and sister from the High God. Like, they are it, I mean, like, even Paladine is a little bit wary of Takhisis. I just love that. Oh, that would be so messed up. Oh, that'd be awesome. I would love that. Okay, so the soundtrack to this film, which we're still in the middle, well, we're at the end of, was actually nominated for a Grammy. That's how good it is. Kiefer Sutherland actually looked into the entire background of Raistlin Majir before showing up on set to do the recording for his voiceover work. He was continuously worried about the pronunciation of the magic spells, so they had to record multiple takes about his spellcasting. I would love to just have an album of Kiefer Sutherland's different pronunciation of spells. Like, just, I wouldn't live with it forever, but I would like to hear, like, the different, outtakes. Like, I'm a big Doors fan, and I love listening to the different sessions of, the various albums that they release. I would totally listen to an album of Kiefer Sutherland reading different pronunciations for magic spells. 100%. Oh, yeah, she is. She definitely is. Let's see. In the mid-90s, the Jim Henson Company was in talks with TSR, which was the owner of Dungeons & Dragons and also Dragonlance at the time, in order to produce some type of Dragonlance project. However, when TSR was bought out by Wizards of the Coast, the project was dropped. Jim Henson Company did some amazing fantasy. They did the Dark Crystal. Like the Dark Crystal. That was amazing when I was a kid. It was scary as hell. It was awesome. So good. And it doesn't have to be like a bunch of Muppets, like fapping away with their mouths and stuff. It could, it could be interesting. It could be really cool. That would have been really, really interesting. But then WotC just dropped it like a bunch of punks. All right, so there's a couple goofs here. He was pretty good. So, a couple goofs. Throughout the scenes in Pax Tharkaz, when they're rescuing the prisoners, Laurana changes repeatedly from being in her elven clothing to her elven armor and back again. In the credits, Michael Rosenbaum's name is misspelled as Michael Rosenbaum with an N. At the scene where Verminard is about to kill Tanis, about 81 minutes, he's wielding his weapon through his body, which, I mean, it's a special trick, right? Literally having your mace come through your body. Various animated errors appear all over this movie. At one point, a character seems to have 3 legs. Another character's hair is white instead of brown. And some chairs have no color at all. And they just seem invisible. So there's just animation problems all throughout. I feel like, oh, yeah, Labyrinth was so good. Oh, and it holds up so well. God, it's so good. I can't tell if Labyrinth is good because it's a good film or if it's good because David Bowie is an alien god. Like, I can't quite tell. Like, Black Star is sort of like behind the scenes. I went to where it was decriminalized. And I did a bunch of shrooms with some friends, and we listened to Black Star just staring up at the night sky. And it was the most amazing hour of my life. Like, David Bowie was, forever will be, goddamned amazing. Like, just amazing. And his ridiculous codpiece in that film was a joke initially. Like, he came out with that huge codpiece just to be like, ha ha ha. And everyone was like, yeah, that's great. Let's use that. I'm like, what? It was so awesome. It was actually a little more intense than relaxing, but it was still good stuff. Only if it has Warwick Davis and Val Kilmer. I'm in. I'm totally in. I'm a huge Willow fan. You say you want more Dragonlance novels. Are you ready for Willow, the TV series? Yes, I am. I actually have a whole Willow playlist in my Star Wars podcast that I release weekly, and it's great. I love it. All right, that is the film. We're at the credits at this point. I'm not entirely sure I watched much of it. I was just waxing like a ridiculous fan most of the time, but what can I say? That's what I am. Dragonlance is the film. So as a sort of retrospective, I still enjoy this film. It's not great, but the story is. The characters definitely are. The themes are wonderful that I will always connect with. I love Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman as authors in this time period, even though they were not at the top of their game. You know, I feel like they've done better things since Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Well, the Chronicles in general. But, you know, the mix of 2D and 3D animation was not good at all. It was horrible. But it's forgivable for me because I get to see Dragonlance in live action. Well, live action, in animated action. Like, I've always wanted that growing up since I was a kid in the 80s, in the 70s. Finally, I get, you know, I run across this set of novels. I immerse myself in it. My Saturdays were riding my bike down to the library, which was a magical world for me, and immersing myself in these mystical and magical environments that were so much more engaging and exciting than my real life was. And to be able to have those moments that I fantasized about, that I read about, that I lived through the novels and reading them, to be able to see portions of it, it meant the world to me. And no, it was not great when it came out, and I was really disappointed. I sit in, we just trashed the film, me and my friends, when I first bought it on, release day, and brought it home. And we had this family group get together of friends and family and watched it over pizza. We were wildly disappointed, and we just thought it was a huge piece of trash. But I have bought the physical DVD. I have bought the digital film. I have just rented it on Amazon because I didn't own it on Amazon in order to do this live stream. And if I have to again, I will totally rent the damn video again because I love Dragonlance. It's not this blind obsession that I don't see the flaws in the stories or in the writing or in the film. No, I definitely do. And it's okay to like things that have flaws, because guess what? Everything has flaws. All of us have massive flaws. That's what makes life interesting, is that we're not these perfect, utopian individuals living in utopian environments. We make mistakes. We screw up. We learn from those mistakes in best cases. That's what's great about life. And if we can't do it with ourselves, and we can't do it with the media that we consume, what's the point of all this? So appreciate what's worth appreciating. Shake off and disregard things that you don't like. But damn it, this is Dragonlance. Let's have some fun with it at least, right? And if for no other reason, let's laugh at it. That's all I got. And that is the end of the film. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm ending the watch party now. I really love getting together like this, and I love chatting with you guys. I wish I could have gotten together with the other individuals I had planned, but life got in the way. I hope it was entertaining for you anyway, and if you were able to tune into the film with me, I hope that you had a good time, because I certainly did, and it definitely was not just because of the Pinot Noir. It helped. Though it helped. I plan on doing this again at some point in time in the future. I don't know when. Probably not anytime soon, if I'm being honest. It took me a year to get around to doing this. I've actually been doing this channel for over a year now. And I've been thinking about doing the channel for much longer than that. So the fact that it's had some wonderful exponential growth is a tribute to you, because I don't use social media. I think social media is the worst thing that human beings have ever done, is inventing social media. It brings out the worst in people. And the truth is that the divisions that we find ourselves sort of aligning with in social media are next to meaningless when you meet someone face to face, because the only thing that really matters is how you engage with other human beings on a human level, and how you interact with them, and how in any country at any given time. I was in the military for 5 years. I went to, I was stationed in Germany for 3 years. I met some Turks and Muslims after 9/11. I don't know why I threw in Turks in there, but it was Muslims after 9/11, that rather than talking about 9/11, we were talking about our kids, because that's all that mattered to us. We were grown men who had children, which connected us regardless of where we were in our lives or our countries. And we love our children. And so we talked about that, and we connected over children. And it was amazing. And we didn't have to hate each other because other people in our ethnicity or in our nationalities or in our backgrounds did bad things to other people. We're human beings. You can connect on a human level. You don't have to agree on everything, and that's okay. Just be cool. Don't be a dick. That's it. I don't know. That's what I learned from Dragonlance. when it comes down to it. That's all I learned, is that it's okay to be different. I know I'm way different than many other people. I'm a weird fucking dude. And sorry, I'm a weird person. And I'm okay with that. I don't share it with everyone, but for those I share it with, you, I appreciate that you accept that and that you tune in. So thank you. Thank you for making this channel what it is. That's really what that all came down to. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. Again, it is Beltane. It is Walpurgisnacht. It is the changing of a season. Celebrate that. Have a great night. Until next time, Slanjavar. Jeez.